I'm a little nervous to tell this story. This is a story that I've never really spoken about in public, but I'm at a point in life where I'm ready to share this part of me that I've been hiding for a decade or so. So here's an open and honest story of my struggle towards becoming that girl. As some of you may know, there's this trend that's been going on, and as I scroll through different videos and articles on how to be that girl, I realize that I've been striving to become that girl my whole entire life. I also realize that this notion of being that girl or the it girl shifts and changes according to the current zeitgeist, as well as the culture we live in. It's pretty refreshing though, I must admit, to see how this notion have evolved to what it is today. Being that girl for gen-zers is a lot healthier for your mental and physical well-being than the previous versions I've seen and went through as my younger millennial self. In my early teens, I didn't have many friends. I was constantly bullied for being fat and got picked on for being too outspoken and too different. I often ate lunch by myself and played with my younger sister and her friends. This went on for a while until I went to the States for high school. It was the perfect opportunity for me to reinvent myself. Growing up watching Mean Girls without the understanding of it being a satire, I thought that wearing pink sweatpants, being pretty, and being mean was the key to being popular in an American high school. I thought that being a cheerleader and dating a boy from a sports team was totally a that girl thing in the late 2000s. And that is exactly what I did. I even became the dance team captain. I had a boyfriend who was in the sports team. I was a bully. I'm definitely not proud of my actions. My judgment was clouded by this strong desire to be loved and accepted no matter what cost. Just imagine a 16-year-old girl who spent most of her school years eating lunch alone, finally finding a sense of belonging at this new school in a new country. Even though she didn't have the best reputation, especially amongst teachers, she always had a table filled with friends at lunch. She never ate alone. She threw parties almost every weekend. If hashtags were a thing back then, Friday at Emmy's would have been a hashtag. I thought that I had reached the pinnacle of my teenage social status. But this all came crumbling down when I was shipped back to Bangkok after graduation. I dreaded being back home. I was fearful of becoming the fat girl no one wanted to eat lunch with. But it was different this time because I know how to reinvent myself now. I knew that I had to work towards becoming the Bangkok version of that girl in order to be loved and valued by society. Although I wasn't aware of this at the time, I was creating a new set of identity that was valued by society. These were the criteria of being that girl in Bangkok in 2010. Sadly, it hasn't changed all that much 10 years later. The Bangkok it girl had to be beautiful. She had to be skinny, this is very important. She had to be in a relationship. She had to be popular. She had to stay at 5-star hotels all over the world with her designer bags and expensive meals. There were months where I ate an apple and a cup of coffee per day. I was striving to become that girl at whatever cost. This cycle of reinventing my identity to fit into the current version of that girl continued on for a few more years. I shapeshifted into a fitness influencer, an activist, a solo backpacker seeking for an adventure around Southeast Asia. a plant-based yogi, a free-spirited festival goer, and the list goes on. Ironically, as I stopped striving to become that girl, I effortlessly became that girl. I have solid morning and evening routines. I now work out 3 to 4 times per week without the obsession. I eat healthy. I meditate for at least an hour a day. I'm productive. And honestly, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I believe that being that girl is a mindset. It's less about striving for external things and experiences and more about the internal relationship you have with yourself. Once you're able to foster that healthy relationship internally, everything else will magically fall into place. As a society, we emphasize creating an identity and a brand for ourselves. This has been more prevalent than ever, with social media being at the forefront of our social lives. Once we write that blurb on our bio and announce our identity to the world, we set out on a journey to seek for people, places, material things, and experiences that would strengthen and enhance this self-proclaimed, socially constructed identity that merely exists in our heads. We've been so wrapped up in constructing this idea of how we want the world to view us that it ends up trapping us, it ends up limiting us, forbidding us from flexibility in life, and most importantly, drowning our truest, most authentic self. Drowning the person that you're supposed to be, the purpose that you're supposed to fulfill. As you can see, I had continually created an identity for myself to cling on to throughout my life. Identities that I thought would make me feel worthy, accepted, and safe. It was exhausting. I had this never-ending battle with an identity crisis until I stopped striving to reach society's definition of that girl. By letting go, I made room to become more mindful. I had more time to really take care of myself. Instead of aligning my actions with the opinion of others or the latest trends, I aligned my thoughts, speech, and action to the person that I truly am. The conversations I had with myself switched from, will this make me look good in the eyes of others, to, will this make me feel good? We become a different person each day, even each moment. So by clinging onto an identity is like holding onto a mooring post when your ship is destined to sail into the most beautiful places in the world. The more I began to shed my layers of these masks, the stronger my self-worth became. I began to detach the value of who I am according to society's expectation. I began to live my life on my own terms. I was no longer an extra, walking around the set of my own movie. Instead, I became the main character of my own life. If someone or something is limiting you from your most authentic self, it's time to let them go. I know that it's easier said than done, and these things take time. So if cutting those things, identities or people out from your life seems too daunting at the moment, begin to ask yourself these questions so that you can understand yourself better and start to peel the layers. These are the questions that I still ask myself on a daily basis. Who or what do I attach my self-worth to? In simpler terms, what or who do you identify yourself with? Like your degree, the way you look, your material possessions, your title, your partner, your social status. And how do these things or people make you feel? What if these things and people don't exist in your life? How would that make you feel? After those questions, you're now able to see what you need to declutter from your life in order to make space to become your most authentic self. I can't answer these questions for you. No one can answer these questions for you but yourself. You know yourself best. Trust in yourself. But remember that it's a muscle that needs to be trained. Our judgments are often clouded by the opinion of others, and we don't even know it. Sometimes it can be really hard to hear our own inner voices. So before answering these questions, try to get still, try to get quiet, maybe do a little meditation before you do so. Make sure there are no distractions around you, especially your phone. And I hope you're able to find some clarity from this exercise. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.